People think of cartels as chaotic street gangs fighting turf wars. But if you trace how the drugs and the money actually move, you'll see an organization structured exactly like a multinational Fortune 500 corporation. And like any massive company, there is a brutal corporate hierarchy. Down at the absolute bottom rung, you have the entry-level gig, the lookout. Picture a 15-year-old kid in Culiacan sitting on a plastic chair outside a convenience store. No weapons, just a cell phone and a Coke. His one job is to watch the road. If a military convoy rolls past, he texts a bird emoji to his supervisor. If he spots a black SUV with tinted windows, meaning a rival faction, he sends a snake. In a normal company, falling asleep on the job gets you written up. Here, if that kid misses a warning text and a police raid happens, HR doesn't fire him. They bury him in the desert. At this level, the workforce is not viewed as human. To the regional managers up the chain, these lookouts are simply cheap, disposable pieces of furniture. Survive long enough, and you might get promoted to logistics. Level 2 is the transporter. Now, instead of a plastic chair, you're handed the keys to a commercial semi-truck. The cargo area is packed with fresh watermelons, but welded into the floorboards underneath are 500 kilos of methamphetamine. The assignment is an 8-hour drive from Sinaloa up to Tijuana. If you panic and get pulled over at a checkpoint, you're looking at 20 years in a federal cell. But if you deliver the load, you walk away with $3,000 in cash, which is more than most people in your hometown make in a year. Make that run a dozen times and the initial terror fades. The route becomes routine. And in this business, comfort leads directly to fatal mistakes. You speed, or you miss a detail on your manifest. When a driver inevitably gets caught and sentenced to 15 years in Altiplano, the cartel offers zero corporate protection. They don't send lawyers and they don't support his family. They just find another desperate teenager who knows how to drive. The bottom half of this empire functions entirely on sheer attrition. The machine survives because its entry-level labor force is broke, hungry, and instantly replaceable. Once you prove you can deliver without getting caught, you get handed a gun and a list of addresses. You've hit middle management. As a collector, and eventually a cell leader, your job shifts from moving packages to administrating physical territory. This flowchart shows how local revenue streams are actually generated. Every legitimate business in your assigned area, a corner taco stand, a pharmacy, a nightclub, is forced to pay a monthly cash tax directly to you. Most owners pay on time. But if a restaurant claims business is too slow, you return at midnight with a couple of guys, smash the windows, and beat the owner unconscious in his own kitchen. By next month, the payment is double. By the time you're a cell leader managing 10 armed men, you're also handling wholesale distribution. The cartel fronts you 100 kilos of cocaine a month. You sell it, send the profits upstairs, and keep a 10% cut. You are suddenly clearing over $50,000 every 30 days. But managing a violent workforce is a nightmare. Your recruits are young, heavy-handed, and usually getting high on their own supply. They start public brawls and draw unwanted police attention, forcing you to violently discipline your own team to keep the plaza quiet. You buy a nice house with a pool, and you tell your neighbors you own a construction company. But rival factions are constantly probing your territory. Every time you step out of your armored car to collect a payment, you are completely exposed. You can never truly clock out. Survive the street-level chaos, and you reach level 5, the regional operator. You control an entire city now, and you rarely touch the product yourself. This is true white-collar crime, focused entirely on grand strategy. This visual loop explains the core problem of regional power. Millions of dollars in illegal cash are flowing into your safe houses. You can't put that in a bank. You have to aggressively launder it, purchasing legitimate storefronts and construction firms to hide the profits from federal auditors. Those legal businesses deposit clean money into the banking system. That capital allows you to buy up real estate across 3 different states, expanding the cartel's portfolio without leaving a paper trail. Defending that massive portfolio requires a private army. When the bosses want to expand into a neighboring state, you organize the hostile takeover. You bribe the local police to look the other way and send 30 heavily armed men in armored trucks rolling into town at 3 in the morning to wipe out the rival faction. The wealth is staggering, but the isolation is crushing. The DEA is tapping your phones, rival hit squads are tracking your movements, and ambitious men inside your organization want your job. You're fighting a paranoid two-front war, sleeping maybe 4 hours a night. At the absolute peak of the pyramid sit the plaza bosses and the cartel leader, the C-suite. They are the CEOs of a multi-billion-dollar empire, but to the public, they are ghosts. They take no photos and they give no interviews. They orchestrate supply chains that dwarf legitimate corporations. We're talking precursor chemicals shipped from China, processed in hidden mountain labs, and transported using custom-built submarines to bypass international border security. Their daily schedule is pure political leverage. They sit down with state governors and high-ranking generals, offering a very simple choice. Take a suitcase containing $2 million, or watch your career implode when photos of your mistresses leak to the press. But reaching the top triggers the ultimate paradox. You've built yourself a golden cage. You have billions in revenue, but you can't show your face. You can't safely attend your daughter's birthday party. You can't even visit your mother's grave, because a sniper might be waiting in the trees. The paranoia at the top is terminal. You know your head of security might be an informant. Your accountant might be skimming. To survive, you execute your closest allies based on nothing more than a passing suspicion. You climbed over hundreds of bodies to reach the absolute top of the corporate ladder, only to realize that holding the throne makes you the most hunted, isolated prisoner on the planet. For almost every CEO in this industry, retirement comes in exactly one form: a middle-of-the-night raid, an extradition flight, and a permanent cell in a federal supermax facility. The untouchable billionaire gets locked in solitary confinement for 23 hours a day. All that global influence, all that power, reduced to 4 blank walls and the memories of the people he killed to get there. But the corporation itself does not die. Level 9 is the successor. The moment a boss is locked away, a nephew or a ruthless lieutenant immediately steps up to fill the vacuum. The supply lines don't stop, the shipping containers keep crossing the ocean, the bank accounts keep turning, and the violence continues exactly as it did the day before. The individual is removed, but the machine doesn't miss a beat. Because somewhere in Culiacan right now, there's another 15-year-old kid sitting in a plastic chair on a dusty street corner. He's got a cell phone, a Coke, and an eye on the road, waiting for his chance to climb the ladder.